Hi friends, welcome to Cats of Sunshine. My name is Vani. I'm a cat behavior specialist, a holistic cat wellness coach, and an animal Reiki practitioner. Today I have a very cool topic to talk with you about, and I hope you'll enjoy it too. 10 things about cat care I wish I knew 10 years ago. Number 1. Cats don't really like belly rubs. Now that's a very tricky one because some cats actually do enjoy belly rubs, but there's a very important but. It needs to be on their terms, meaning that it matters how long you rub them, the exact spot where you might be rubbing their belly. So it's very important to pay attention to your cat's body language and how they feel while you're doing that. And let's say you start rubbing the belly and the cat immediately just gets very tense and walks away, or worse, they start hissing or growling or like even sweating at you. That's a sign that definitely they're not a member of a belly rub lover club. So it's very important to know the cat's body language and to know your own cat, whether or not it's something that they like. Now, generally speaking, when cats expose their bellies, it just means that they trust you and they feel comfortable enough to be vulnerable like that in your presence. So that's like a very good compliment from a cat. Sometimes they expose their bellies as an invitation to play, so it doesn't always mean the same thing, because again, different cats, they have different personalities and they express their emotions and desires in a different way. So it's very important to know your own cat and just listen to what they're trying to tell you. Try to know your cat without projecting what we want from them, how we want them to be, how we want them to act. We can't just make them be a certain way because we want it. So it's number one thing I would say is to see your cat the way they are, try to get to know them better and to respect them and their boundaries. And this directly leads us to point number 2. You have to respect your cat's boundaries, or else. And what can they do, you may ask? So if you start pushing your cat's boundaries, or someone else is trying to do that, I think they would leave first. They would try to leave the situation. And if the person still tries to approach them and chase them, then they can try hissing, growling, and that can turn into biting and attacking. So the bottom line is that we have to respect them and respect their boundaries. For example, offer them your finger or hand to sniff before touching them all the way. That's just like saying, oh, hey, can I hang out with you? You want to be friends? And this is like just like a normal courtesy. Another way of respecting them is if you see that your cat is sleeping, well, just don't wake them up. Or if your cat doesn't like being picked up, or your cat doesn't like to stay on your lap, or whatever it is that they don't like, well, just don't do it. Because sometimes we have this expectations of how we want our cat to be. And maybe it's not their personality. Maybe they're not a lap cat, but maybe they're good at something else. And that's what I'm talking about. Just learning, getting to know your cat better and building this long-lasting friendship and this very strong connection. And I think this is like one of the most beautiful and magical things that you can experience. Number 3, purring is not always a sign of a happy cat. And I have to be honest with you, when I first heard that was like a shocker for me, because I always thought that a purring cat is a happy cat. And apparently cats purr when they're content and happy, but they also purr when they try to soothe themselves. And we always have to look at the whole situation, like when they purr, like how do they look, what is their body language. For example, if your cat is just laying comfortably on some sunny spot and purring and making biscuits, then that is a purring as a sign of contentment or as a sign of happiness. But for instance, if your cat is sitting in a sloth position, like very tense, their paws are tucked in and their eyes might be like closed or half closed, or you might just see like this tension on their face, that is probably a sign of a cat who is trying to purr to soothe himself or herself. So as I said, it's always important to look at the whole situation to understand why your cat is purring. I also read many times that cats' purr has some healing properties, which is kind of magical in a way and pretty cool. And so it's possible that when they're in pain and they're scared, they're purring to soothe themselves, but also to try to heal their own bodies. Number 4, when cat is peeing on your shoe, it doesn't mean she's mean. So one thing I always try to tell to my clients is that any cat behavior is their way to communicate. So they don't speak our language. Let's say something bothering them, how would they let us know? And they let us know through their behavior. So behavior is a way of communication. And let's say peeing in your shoe might have so many different reasons behind it. Maybe your cat is trying to tell you that he is struggling inside a litter box. Maybe he has UTI or crystals, or maybe the litter box is not clean enough, or maybe he doesn't like the location of the box, or it can be something not related to the box. Maybe you've been maybe staying at work or school long hours lately, or you've been very distant, or you've been very busy, and by peeing in your shoe, your cat is trying to tell you that, hey, our relationships are not ideal, and in their own way they're trying to mix the scents. So scent is super important for cats. So by peeing on your shoe, they're trying to mix their scent with your scent, and I guess they're hoping to help the situation, meaning to bring you closer. So again, any behavior is a communication. So if your cat is doing something, he's not mean, he's not peeing in your shoe out of spite or because he wants to, I don't know, make you feel angry. They just don't function like that. Number 5, dry food is not a healthy diet for a cat. This is a very extensive topic that I think deserves a special video that I will try to work on soon. But for now, I'll just try to cover a few very important points why dry food is not healthy for your cat. Firstly, it's dry, meaning that there's very little moisture in it, usually only 6 to 10%. Domestic cat ancestors come from a desert, so they genetically have very low thirst drive, meaning that they don't go for a bowl of water as often as they should. In the desert, the African wildcat, who is a direct ancestor of our domesticated cats, gets all the moisture they need from their prey, so genetically cats should be getting their moisture with their food, not separately. Cats' diet should consist mainly of meat, while dry food is too high in carbs. Cats have reduced ability to digest and utilize carbohydrates, so they don't even require carbs in their diet. Well, maybe a little bit, just to provide fiber. Meat and other ingredients that go into dry food are usually the lowest quality because it's going to be cooking on a high temperature for almost 24 hours. So who cares about the quality? It only contains artificial vitamins, minerals, etc. After being over-processed, there's nothing nutritious left in the kibble. To make it complete and balanced, it's being sprayed with artificial vitamins, minerals, and flavors to make it palatable and smelly. Number 6. Celebrating your cat's birthday or adoptiversary is not weird. More than that, I think it's absolutely awesome. Your kitty probably don't have the same concept of time as us humans, and they don't have calendars and planners and all that unnecessary garbage. And it's very likely that they treat every day as their birthday. What a cool concept. I should do that too. Anyway, even if they have no idea when their birthday or adoptiversary is, I think it's a great thing to just treat them with something especially special on their special day. Because why not? They totally deserve it. So take a day off from work and tell your friends that your fur kid has a birthday party. But not everyone is invited. Number 7. Declawing is cruel, and it's not just a nail trim. I'm sure most of you already know this, but I think it's very, very important to spread this information so we can stop this cruel procedure. It's a painful procedure that removes the last bone of each toe on a cat's paw, cutting through bones and nerves. If we compare it to humans, it would be like cutting off your finger at the last knuckle. That sounds pretty painful and severe to me, and absolutely not necessary. It is illegal in most of Europe and in many US states. Sensory and motor nerves are cut, damaged, and destroyed. Recovery from the surgery is a slow and painful process. This procedure can hamper the sensations and enjoyment involved in walking, running, springing, climbing, and stretching. Declawing is inhumane, unnecessary procedure that has many alternatives. Wisconsin Humane Society. Do cats get sad when you declaw them? Cats that have been declawed often suffer from prolonged long-term anxiety, stress, depression, and fear, as written in Community Concern for Cats. Please, please, please don't declaw your cat and spread this information to your friends and family. Number 8. Being lazy with your cat is actually a good thing. Who told us that napping with your cat on the couch or staring outside the window together is a waste of time? I think it's quite the opposite. It's very therapeutical, and I think most of us can use a little bit of doing nothing. Dolce fare niente. Translated from Italian, it means sweet doing nothing. And I think our cats are total experts at it. Giving yourself a moment to slow down, disconnect from distractions and obligations, and just be in the moment, be present, be right here and right now is the sweetest thing to do. We all deserve to be lazy sometimes and give ourselves a little break from this crazy world, and your cat would be a perfect guide in this little peaceful adventure.
Hello. Mommy loves you. And you know it.
Number 9. Bored cat leads to behavior issues, and that leads to health issues. It's a common misconception that cats are low-maintenance animals. Let's see it this way. Cats are, let's say, wild animals who were brought to live indoors. And their DNA is still like 80-90% the same as their wild ancestor, who is a wild African cat, which means that they're still pretty much on the wild side. And if we compare them to dogs, who were domesticated much earlier than cats, and because of the extensive breeding, don't have the same DNA as their wild ancestor, who's a wolf. So on top of that, dogs also, they go outside, so they have an opportunity to perform their species appropriate behaviors outside, which is sniffing, running around, interacting with other dogs. So they can still be dogs and they can still benefit from being outdoors, while cats, well, they're just being confined to a box that we call home. So what can we do to make them feel more at home in our home? How can we bring more nature in? And I always try to say that, well, just bring the jungle in. It's very important to look at the environment that they live in and make sure that they have opportunities to perform their species appropriate behaviors like scratching, running, jumping, hiding, hunting, pouncing. Did I say jumping or not? So they have to perform all those behaviors while they're indoors. On top of that, you can bring the grass. You can bring some clean objects like a pine cone, for example. Just make sure you don't pick it from the ground. In case, there was some animal, I don't know, doing something with it. Make sure there's no saliva of some other animal on it. So it's better to pick something from top of the tree, or just grow your own grass, grow your catnip, open the windows so cats can kind of breathe the fresh air and collect the information from the outside. Put the cat TV on. There's just so many things that you can do to make their environment more stimulating and more fun. Because as I said, bored cat is more likely to have some behavior issues because, well, they're depressed, they're stressed, so they might not use their litter box, so they might be more anxious or aggressive. And as we all know, stress, it causes health issues. Basically, if cats cannot be cats, if they cannot perform their species appropriate behaviors, you can start seeing such behaviors as excessive vocalization, or eliminating outside the box, or scratching or chasing.
Hi, Puddles.
On top of that, they can also become depressed and obese. So making sure that your cat has enough enrichment and enough opportunities to be a cat, to behave like a cat, is a very important part of their wellness routine. Number 10. Cats can deeply connect with their humans and create life-lasting bonds. Another very common misconception is that cats are aloof. And I always say that, well, it's not a good idea to generalize. It's the same as saying, oh, all people are social, because they're not. And it's the same with cats. Some cats might be aloof, and some cats might be aloof sometimes, depending on their mood, because each cat has a personality, and they have different moods. And it's very important to understand that and don't generalize cats like that. And I think what's important is to understand that cats, their personalities will blossom if they're in a safe and happy environment. Because if they are stressed in their home, or they just feel uncomfortable, or they're not feeling good, how can they show their personality? So they might actually be hiding if they're uncomfortable, or if they don't feel safe, if there's a dog running around, and if you didn't do appropriate introduction with the dog. So again, it's very important to make sure that your kitty is feeling safe and comfortable in your environment, because as I mentioned before, we bring them basically from the wild, we bring them inside, and we expect them to just be happy without ever going outside. So it's a big thing to ask. So I think the best advice that I can give to cat parents is get to know your kitty. Get to know your little tiger. What do they like? What do they don't like? What is their favorite food? How do they like to play? Where do they like to nap, most of all? Like all these little things, they make them who they are. See them, get to know them. As they feel safe and respected, they will be curious to get to know you too. And this is how everlasting and unconditional love starts. And I have to say, it's one of the most wonderful and magical things to experience. Let me know in the comments below what are some of the things you learned recently about cat care and cats in general that you didn't know before. I'm curious. This is it for today, my friends. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please give it a thumbs up if you found it interesting and if you liked it. And also please consider subscribing to my channel to make sure that you see all my new videos. Thank you so much, and see you soon.